quite an iconoclastic perspective where schools are being positioned more as community centers, more engaging out there. We move on to the next interaction, which shifts the focus from learners to the teachers. The importance of teacher training, nurturing school leaders, the future visionaries. We have with us two eminent educators with us, Mr. T. Venugopal Rao of Fusion International School, Hyderabad. I request Mr. Rao to please come on the dais. And also we have Lieutenant Colonel A. Shekhar, who is the director with the Atul Foundation. Colonel Shekhar. Colonel Shekhar comes from a military school background, and he would also like to distill his experiences pertaining to discipline, importance of discipline, and about campus-based learning. I will request Mr. Rao to present his viewpoints, first of all, on the importance of teacher training. This one, right? Yeah, okay. Hi, good morning to everybody. Today's my topic is importance of teacher training, nurturing school leaders, the future visionaries. I am Dr. T. Venugopal Rao, CEO of Fusion International School. See, what is the importance? Why there is an importance of teacher training? I just give some examples here. Now there is a rapid rise of number of people with higher qualifications. Now a lot of people are gaining a lot of qualifications, on paper at least. In the fast changing world, producing more of the same education will not suffice to address the challenges of futures. Jobs are changing rapidly. Nowadays we are talking everybody engineers. See, recently in our school, some of our students have done one skit in that they have performed that, because in 2035, that means these students, when they graduate in 2035, the jobs, the professions they have chosen are vertical farming, digital architect, virtual lawyer, political scientist, and waste data handler. So that is really impressive from my staff and my students, thinking positively that in future, so this kind of education is not suffice. So we need to think beyond, out of the box. So then students need to be capable of constantly adapting and also constantly learning and growing and repositioning themselves in this fast changing world. By the way, actually I worked in Singapore for 14 years as the Dean of Mathematics. I was a maths professor. I prepared higher level syllabus for IB schools, IB World School, in one of the top schools. So there, what I observed is, the questions are given based on the day-to-day life events. So that students will be interested to learn and to identify themselves with the present scenario. In earlier or presently, actually the policy focus was in education, just provision of education. But today it's an outcome. In the past, teachers were often left alone in the classrooms with a given prescription of what to teach. But the most advanced education system now set ambitious goals for the students, and they are clear about what students should be able to do. There is a need to prepare the teachers for this daunting task and provide them with the tools and establish what content instruction they need to provide to their individual students. In the past, different students were taught in similar ways. Today, teachers are expected to embrace diversity with differentiated pedagogical practices. The goal of the past was standardization and conformity, but today, being ingenious, you cannot have one set of lesson plan and go to teach section A, section B, section C the same way. You have to change according to the students' needs, students' aspirations, and students' how they are absorbing it. So that's called personalizing educational experiences. In the past, it was curriculum centered or teacher centered, we can say, but now it is learner centered. So teachers are being asked to personalize the learning experiences to ensure that every student has a chance to succeed. And every student has to deal with increasing cultural diversity in their classrooms and differences in learning styles. So the kind of teaching today requires teachers to be high level knowledge workers. So that's why there is a need of teacher training. Now, how do we nurture leaders? In Singapore, the school leaders were handpicked and they were given extensive training, and after that they were sent to different schools to train, mentor the principals and then the coordinators, the level heads, because they are going to be future school leaders. And they also made one more interesting factor I observed is they made a cluster of schools in one region, and there will be a cluster head. So that is a very good idea. So that means if in one place, if we can choose few international school, few different schools, and then we make it a cluster, and then we exchange the ideas, so that, or we can call that principals to give external lectures, so they share the ideas, unless we think that they are my competitors. Anyhow, so what the future leaders require: emotional quotient, intelligence, emotional intelligence. A good leader must possess EQ. If you see that Steve Jobs, who is has excellent IQ but very less EQ, even though he is successful. So, but if a leader has got EQ also, then really that school or that organization will be a actually conducive and very happy environment. Just now, Seema was suggesting that school, actually in my school, what I observe is, what I taught my teachers and educators and everybody, that children should come to school happily, first thing. So see that when the children are coming happily, so then I ask the teachers also, teacher, why are you not smiling? You have any problem? So that when the teacher is happily going to school with a smile on her face, the children also feel happy. I always believe that fear kills the creativity. So if you instill fear, if the children look at the teacher, look at the principal, look at the director, afraid of, why? They haven't done anything wrong. So if that dar, that fear is removed from them, they will be very creative. Their right brain and left brain both work simultaneously and they'll become geniuses. So it is all in our hands. So how do we mold them? So that's why if a leader has got EQ, an emotional intelligent leader is calm, grounded and empathetic, so that they can resolve the conflicts. And I also want the future leaders to be community leaders. Community leaders means you must know that the high functioning teams are essential, like the students, staff, including the parents. If they can talk to them and meet them often and conduct programs in such a way that there will be a bonding, so that which can ensure that stability and retention. And visionary leader, a leader must have a vision. What do you want? Because the students who are just joining in the class 1 and in 2035, 40, they are going to be into the real world situation. So then think about that. not now, not the present scenario. So think about in future how the situation will be, how is the world will be, and what emphasis will be. Because if you have seen that, the research shows that by 2040 we will have a lot of shortages like petroleum products, water, even space also, because the place also. So then think about that. You make our students to be future entrepreneurs. Think them that you just don't want only jobs, you create the jobs and you solve the problems. What are the problems we are facing? That's why in my school our teachers give them a project works like, for example in our Hyderabad, whenever it rains, all the roads are, filled with water. So children think, what best we can do? A small project. Because if you see that the roads in foreign countries are actually a little bent so that the water will be going into the drain. But here, the roads are not properly laid. See, small things, all these we have to tell the children, ask them, think in future, because you are going to be the future leaders. So, then for that, we need to nurture school leaders so that they can define the educational goals, ensure that instructional practices is directed towards achieving the goals, observe and evaluate teachers. The evaluation, observation is done, I heard in some schools when I interacted with some schools principals, they say that they observe the teachers' lessons once in a year. But in some schools I heard that they do it twice in a year. The more the better. We have to give them the feedback. We have to mentor them, train them. So that if we observe the lessons in their particular, suppose if a teacher is teaching 2 subjects, so observe each lesson twice or thrice and give them the feedback. Instead of talking all the negative things, tell them that these are your strengths, or these are your strengths. But when it comes to a few points you have to improve. Instead of giving them blah 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 blah, all these negative points you have, then the person will be demotivated. The same thing goes with the students also. Shape their professional development, not only the internal training, you call external speakers, send them like this kind of seminars, so that they learn, they will be exposed. They must provide incentives and motivate teachers to improve the quality of instruction. And 21st century skills, which are really very important. What are the 21st century skills according to the internationally categorized into 4? Ways of thinking, ways of working, tools for working, skills for living in the world, like creativity, critical thinking. Critical and analytical thinkings we have to start from the beginning to the students. Problem solving, decision making, because children will have a lot of conflicts when they are playing in the classroom. So they should learn maturely how to resolve the conflicts. So all these, if we include in the curriculum, so that they will become good leaders. Communication, collaboration, ICT. Next, coming to how do we nurture our future visionaries? Change in the curriculum, because the curriculum which we are providing is mostly on academic based. We are not concentrating on other skills. See, relevance required. Students lack of motivation. Every day, whole day, 45 minutes to 1 hour, or sometimes 2 periods continuously bombarding with problems, questions. Then they lose interest, the lack of motivation, disengagement. So which is reflecting in their studies, in their exams, in their performances. So what we have to do? The skills, the higher order thinking skills, 21st century skills, such as 4 C's. What are they? Creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration. Collaborative learning, actually I have given once a talk on collaborative learning. Collaborative learning, if you apply in the classroom, that is a fun way of learning, and then children enjoy and learning is also taking place. Next, character traits. This very few schools, I don't know many, but I heard that few schools are using character traits as one of the lessons, because not only the academics but behavior, attitude, values and adaptability. For example, traits like adaptability, persistence, resilience is lacking nowadays, and moral related traits like integrity, justice, empathy and ethics. Because every time whenever you ask your friend, didn't come for I invited my friend to my birthday but he didn't come on time, so you're angry. Have you ever thought from his point of view? We never. Empathy is lacking in our system, because we never think from others' point of view. We don't put our legs into others' shoes. We always think that we are right. So if we teach these kind of skills, then they will be, the students will be good citizen, or good student now. In future he will be a good citizen. And this is another new word, meta layer. These are not jargon of words, but which is, because we are all educators. If it is for teachers, I would have come down to their levels to teach what is it exactly. But we are all educators, we are all intellectuals. See, what is meta layer? So learning how to learn, interdisciplinary, system thinking, personalization, which is often neglected, merely mentioned and not acted upon. Meta layer means enveloping all the three: character, curriculum and other values. So, yeah, thanks. Now I'm coming to the last one, my suggestion, conclusions, I'm coming to that. See, apart from academics, if we can include character traits lessons, life skills actually given by UNICEF. If you follow them guidelines, that's more than enough. Creativity based challenges, leadership modules, critical and analytical thinking skills, entrepreneurial skills, career guidance in the curriculum, which will help the students to be holistic. Training school leaders in collaborative learning, 21st century skills, critical thinking skills, problem solving skills will help them to equip various skills. Thank you very much.